Hey, you guys, what's up?
Hey.
Are y'all doing good today?
Yeah, it's a good day.
Yeah, it's
Beautiful
wonderful.
day.
Awesome. Y'all are in Alaska, right? Fairbanks?
Yep.
Okay, and I'm all the way in Pensacola, Florida, Northwest Florida. So thank you guys so much for being on. Can you tell me the name of the academy there?
Yeah, sure. It's a Tribe Jiu-Jitsu Academy.
Okay, awesome. And you want to tell us, kind of, you want to go over like where it's at, the road or anything like that? Or, yeah.
Yeah, so we're inside the Bentley Mall by Costco. Fairbanks, Alaska isn't the biggest city, so it's pretty easy to find. But yeah, we're right inside the mall by Costco on College
Oh,
Road.
okay. Oh, perfect location. By
Yeah.
Costco.
Yep.
Okay, so everybody kind of makes one trip, right? Shopping
Yeah, drop
before,
off the
after.
kids, let them do their jiu-jitsu, and then go do your supply run. So
100%, man. That's awesome. What about the classes you guys offer, like the types of classes and the age groups?
So we start about 5 years old. We have a handful of 4-year-olds on kind of a case by case basis, but classes start around 5. We have a younger kids class for ages 5 to 8, and then an older kids for ages 9 to 12. And then usually at 13, we kind of invite them to try the adult beginner classes. Um, we also have a kids comp team that Nick runs, which is doing great. And there's some older kids in there too, some older teens. Um, and then we have the adult jiu-jitsu, we have adult boxing, kickboxing, yoga. We have a lot to offer.
Okay, okay, awesome. Yoga as well. Wow.
Yeah, once a week. Yep.
I've never done yoga before. Wow.
Oh, you should do it.
Everybody
Basically,
says that. Yeah.
jiu-jitsu, you're just not, yeah. I mean, we call jiu-jitsu murder yoga as a joke, but yeah, it's fun.
Well, everybody said it's really, really hard. I mean, it's
It
harder
can be.
than you would think, I guess. It's not like,
It's
you're
as hard as
laying
the
around in the
instructor
garden or
makes it, I
anything.
suppose. Fun.
Yeah. Um, did you say you have gi and no gi or one or the other?
Yeah, we got gi on Mondays, Fridays, and Saturdays, and then the middle 3 days are no gi. So we have 3 days gi, 3 days no gi.
Okay, got it, got it, got it. Awesome. Well, what a perfect location. Oh my goodness, right next to Costco. We actually just got a Costco just down the road. Like it's opening next week, I think. Yeah.
Nice.
But it's a huge, huge thing. We got Walmart, Sam's, Target. We have everything, but we don't have Costco.
And life's
um,
about change. It's amazing.
it's like 3 minutes from my house too. My wife's so excited. Um, would you guys go back as far back as you want, as far as your personal stories, both of you or one or the other? Kind of tell me, like, how and why you got into jujitsu, and then you
Yeah,
can lead
Nick,
up
you wanna
to the
start with that?
academy.
Sure. So I'm the general manager of the gym. We had the opportunity to meet when I first started training jiu-jitsu. Carl was in charge of a jiu-jitsu program at a different location in a Krav Maga gym for 8 or 9 years, something
I
like
was
that.
there 9 years. Yeah.
Okay.
And I am an alcoholic, 6 years into recovery. Coincidentally, I've been training jiu-jitsu for 6 years. I had the opportunities to meet Carl and start training jiu-jitsu, and I'm one of those examples of jiu-jitsu saved my life. It gave me purpose, it gave me focus, and it's given me these opportunities to where I get to live jiu-jitsu every day through running the gym. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah. Did you get into jujitsu because of that, or just kind of that's just how it happened?
I needed something to stay busy, so I would stay away from the alcohol. It was part of my personal journey, my 12-step program that I went through, and it was something I was 265 pounds. I couldn't touch my toes. Like, the sheer thought of being healthy wasn't an option in my brain. And as I started to sober up, as I was working with my therapist and everything, they told me I needed to start working out. And Carl and I both agree on this. Lifting weights does not stimulate my ADHD. It's boring. So I would much rather try to have somebody kill me, and that, like, I'll come back every day for that. And with jujitsu, for people who train, they understand there is a connection that happens when you start training with your training partners and your coaches. It it gives you a sense of purpose. It gives you a sense of community that you don't normally find in just a general workout setting. So it gave me that hope, and it gave me people that weren't, my friend group was all built around drinking. And when I sobered up, it gave me that opportunity to create a friend group and a peer group and a new family is what it's actually become for me, that supports me being sober and being healthy. And yeah.
And so it's like the complexity of jujitsu, right? As far as the actual, what you were doing compared to like working out. Was that what it was? The complexity of it?
Yeah, the complexity of it's a big part of it. Also, so when you train jujitsu and you start working it, you learn pressure is optional as a mentality. Physically, it's there. You know, if you got a 260-pound guy pushing down on you, physically it's there, but like you choose the mentality of how you handle that pressure. And that translates to the day to day. If I can sit here on the mat and roll with, we got a new student, 365 pounds, 6'6", former D1 lineman. Uh, and I keep putting myself on the bottom so that I can work my game so I can get to top position on them, but I'm never panicked. And that's what jujitsu has taught me, and it's given me the opportunity to show that I can do that in my day-to-day life as well.
Yeah, when you have ADHD like both Nick and I do,
Maybe myself as well. Maybe.
Yeah.
it's like you can do things, but they have to be interesting, or it's really really hard. And lifting a weight up and down is just, I'm starting to lift now. I've never really lifted regularly, but it's just not that interesting. Whereas with jujitsu, every body type's a new puzzle. Every person that has a different game is a new problem to solve. Like, it's just really interesting. You might have a game built around your primary sparring partner, who's an average 5'10" male, and then you try to play that same game against someone who's 6'6" and lanky, or 5'2" and built like a tank, and it's like a completely different problem. And it just never stops being interesting. Like, it's fun, captures your attention. And like Nick said, there's that motivation factor. Like, someone is trying to break your arm right now, so you will move. Like, I guess I need that incentive to move sometimes. But yeah, it's super fun and just really captures your mind more than other things, I think.
Can you hit
Yeah,
on
and then
because this is
oh,
really for, people on the outside looking in. When you say somebody's trying to break your arm, can you can you
Yeah,
explain it
not
to them?
literally,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
not
You know
literally.
what they're
Like, we're
thinking,
all
like,
friends here.
"Really?"
Jiu-jitsu is really cool
Tap
in the
out,
sense.
tapping out that whole thing. Just explain to
Yeah,
them
no,
kind
this
of
is
what the
another thing
reality is. Yeah.
I love about jujitsu. Another thing is the control you have over the violence. Like, if you are the best boxer in town, you got crazy hands, and some kid's off their meds in the store and needs to be restrained, all you can do is punch the kid in the face. And you're really good at doing that. But if you are a good wrestler, jujitsu, judo, sambo, if you're good at grappling, you don't have to hurt anybody. You can kill them, you can maim them, but you can also just hold them down and control them. And in the gym, you can go 100% at your best friend on the mat, and just know that once their arm gets straight, we slow down. We're not hurting each other. Whereas with boxing and striking, you can't really go 100%
Yeah.
at your partner, or you're going to get hurt. With grappling, you can go 100% as long as you're careful once the arm gets extended away from the body, and just kind of, the white belts that are new are usually the ones that'll hurt you. Your people you're used to sparring with, we take care of each other. Injuries do happen, but I feel it's actually safer than a lot of other combat sports when it comes to hard sparring.
Mhm.
yeah, and so with that, kind of how we've explained it, like that helped me realize I can stay sober, realize I can be a better dad, a better partner to my wife, and all of these things just kept building where my life turned completely around. And in 22, he got a hold of me and was like, "Hey, I want to start my own gym." And I was like, "Okay, cool. Like, let me know where my payments need to start going. Like, I'm following you wherever you're going." He's like, "No, no, I want you to help me with it." And I was like, "Oh, oh boy. Okay, let's do it." So, yeah,
Let's wing
and
it.
it's afforded me a lot of really cool opportunities. I am the state ambassador for what's called the We Defy program. It's a foundation built to save combat vets. And so I work really heavily with that foundation. which is a huge jiu-jitsu movement of saving vets' lives, which is great. We had the opportunity, we created a competition team for our kids program, and we've gone to Vegas, to Hawaii, to Washington, traveling with these kids to give them better opportunities to compete and live jiu-jitsu. So I've had a pretty great journey with it. It's been something absolutely amazing. My
Seems
my
like,
wife
it's something
is
that
like,
can, like, have so many prongs to it, right? I mean, you're mentioning a
"Oh,
lot of
yeah."
stuff that's branching out from from jujitsu. Yeah.
I mean, pretty much everyone knows that the best thing for mental health is exercise. It's just kind of like a known thing, but there's something special about the connection you get with other humans when you're training combat sports. Like you're actually grappling your friends. Like you're getting that physical contact. You're getting that kind of bond that you get when you are struggling towards something together. Um, yeah, it's just there's nothing quite like it when it comes to getting that sense of tribal community. That's why we named it tribe, like getting a tribe of people together, having that sense of community. And like Nick was saying with addiction, I've heard it say that the opposite of addiction is connection. And having that sense of connection with others is really what helps. And there's nothing better than grappling for that.
When you were talking about, getting over addiction, it sounded like it was three-pronged. You have, like, the complexity of jujitsu itself kinda, replaces things in your mind. The other thing is the social aspect, having the connection with, others, and it sounds like maybe the third one is, um I lost my train of thought. The third one was, ex y'all go ahead. I've lost
It'll
my
come
train of
back to
thought.
you.
We'll
It'll
go
come
back
back
to
to
it.
you, sir.
Yeah.
I think the third one, in my opinion, would
The
be
fact
it
that you
gave me a
can't do it and still be effective in jujitsu and others
yeah,
can't either. That's what I was gonna say.
yeah, I was drinking a bottle of whiskey a day, when I decided to get sober. There's no way I could show up to these mats and do jujitsu, like, eff at all, let alone effectively, and I'm a big part of our kids program here on top of that. Like, having somebody drunk on the mats teaching kids isn't safe or healthy, and
Yeah, and
so
even with just, like, losing weight, like, there's this sense of accountability there where, like, if you wanna compete in jujitsu, it's all based on weight classes.
Oh,
So,
okay.
if you're big, a big man's gonna try to hurt you. If you're smaller, a smaller man will try to hurt you. There's these, built-in incentives to be in shape, and even on the mat with your friends, like, if you get too out of shape, one of your close personal friends is gonna remind you you're out of shape by wiping the mat with you. So there is this like built-in motivation to kind of stay in shape. Whereas, just if you miss a day at the gym, there's not really anyone to, your
Yeah.
gym partner might give you a hard time, but they're not going to strangle you. So
And it's also not like it's not usually a group like there is in jujitsu. It's not
yeah,
like multiple people wondering where you are.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so the responsibility that comes with it or that can come with it, yeah. And
Yeah.
you're talking about people are depending on you, the kids. Yeah. Yeah. Sounds like it's multi-pronged, yeah. Is there any other part of y'all's story that you wanna go through before we go into the academy?
Well, I guess I could tell mine. So I grew up athletic, playing a lot of sports. I used to run a 2 minute, 10-second, 800 meter. I played soccer. I was very active, volleyball. Um, then I got married. We started having kids, and I just put on weight like nobody's business. My
Yeah,
wife is
like
an
everyone, right?
amazing, oh my gosh, amazing cook, and I wasn't playing sports anymore. So I just started piling on weight, and I told myself it was all muscle, and it really
Oh,
was
yeah, of
not.
course.
I was like, I got up to like 275, 280. I was getting big. And then I tried to play soccer for the first time at somebody's house, and I kept falling on my face
Really?
because the weight gain happened so fast that my muscle memory was still there to do what I'm supposed to do, but my legs couldn't keep up. I
Yeah.
literally couldn't run. I kept falling down like a baby deer, and it was so embarrassing that I literally couldn't run with a soccer ball without falling because my body just wasn't used to doing that, carrying all that weight. So I needed to get in shape. My sleep apnea was getting out of control. My wife would wake me up repeatedly, like, "You stop breathing again." Um, And so I just wanted to do something, and the UFC was kinda early back then, and, jujitsu seemed to win a lot, so I thought I'd try that, and there's another gym in town that was existing at that time, great gym, but not quite my vibe, so I went to, like, traditional Japanese jiu-jitsu first, and I got a black belt in that within about 2 years because Japanese is quick. Um, and then I started training Brazilian jiu-jitsu under Gracie Baja, Professor Ted Stickle in Anchorage, and I got my blue belt under him. And then for my 30th birthday, my wife got me my first ticket to a national jiu-jitsu tournament. Because back then there weren't any tournaments in Alaska. If you wanted to compete, you had to travel. Um, and I was still probably about 250 at that time ish. I'd lost some weight doing jiu-jitsu, but I wasn't really competitive, so I lost some, but not a ton. My birthday was in May. She got me that ticket. It was a done deal. I was going to my first tournament. And between May and October, I got down to 200 pounds. I lost like 50 pounds.
Okay.
Um, and I went and competed. I won gold at blue belt at this big, huge national tournament. It was a blast. Um, and I
How
just,
did you
yeah,
lose the weight? Like, it was something more than
just
jiu I mean, dieting,
extreme,
of course.
mostly diet. And
Yeah,
anyone that loses that kind of weight that fast is mostly diet. You're not going to get that from running on a treadmill, but
yeah,
I didn't eat a ton. I trained like a maniac, and yeah, just real basic stuff. Eat less, move more. Um,
mhm.
and then I just kept training. I started teaching at blue belt actually. There weren't a lot of options in Fairbanks back then, so I started teaching Brazilian Jiu Jitsu at the University of Alaska Fairbanks as a blue belt. Also teaching a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu class at the Japanese Jiu-Jitsu class that I was participating in. I'd strap on my blue belt and we go over Brazilian stuff.
Did you
Um,
like teaching?
I love teaching. I always have. Like when you see the look in someone's eye when they get a move for the first time, like there's nothing like it. Like I love teaching just in general,
Uh,
but jiu-jitsu especially. I taught some classes out of my home as a purple belt. We just matted the whole downstairs of our house and taught classes down there. And then, yeah, so it would have been what's 22 minus 9? What
Like,
I'm
I don't know.
yeah, anyway, that's when I started teaching at Alaska Krav Maga and Fitness in town. Great gym here. They really focus on self-defense and they're very, very good at it. And I headed up their Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu class for about 9 years. Got my black belt in 2000
No,
and
in 20.
20 I'm sorry, 2020. Yeah, there's a 20
oh,
in there.
hey, I do the same. Yesterday, I
No.
said
Yeah.
2018 instead of 2008 with something. Yeah.
Yeah, no. 2020, I got in
I laugh.
December, I got my black belt. I was the 2nd black belt in Fairbanks at the time. Um, and then about a year later, we started planning to open a gym, and it kinda changed both of our lives, my family's life. Um, Initially, I was gonna name the gym Level Up Jiu-Jitsu because I love video games, and I really do think of jiu-jitsu like a video game. Like, I always tell my kids' class, like, "You gotta level up your armbar, man. You gotta do the reps, get the experience points, you do 1,000 of them, you're gonna be really good at it." And, kinda think of it in those terms. But, my wife and I were on a long road trip, and we started talking about names and what kind of vibe we want, and I just read the book Tribes by Sebastian Junger, and it's all about the sense of tribal community that people get when they're in the armed forces, special forces guys, um, and also Native American tribal culture, just what goes into having a sense of community and tribe. And we came up with the name Tribe. And it really is what we've tried to build here over the last 4 years. It's a huge part of my family's life. I have 11 children, 8 of them are still at home, and their social network basically is jujitsu for the most part. Like they're here all the time. Their friends are here. Um, my oldest daughter met her husband on the mat. It's just really changed our
Mhm.
life in almost every way possible.
What can you g do you remember, like, your first experience of feeling that tribal community feeling in jujitsu when you
Oh
first
yeah, it's
started?
probably my first sense of feeling that was that first trip I took to that tournament when I was 30.
Okay.
My current professor, Jordan Contra, amazing human. He owns a school in Homer and also part owner of a gym in Anchorage. And we went to that trip together along with a bunch of other people. And that was actually when I started up my Facebook account too. I wasn't on the Facebook train before that, but when I got back from that trip, I really just wanted to stay in contact with everybody. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, that was the first time I really felt that. And then every time I travel to
Facebook can
Anchorage,
make you feel that too. But well,
Facebook
it
will
does
give you
all
a false sense of that sometimes, but yeah, that was the first time I really felt that. And there's just nothing like you could travel. I've gone to Costa Rica, Dominican Republic. I've rolled in Mexico. You go to any of these countries and you find a gym, and even if you don't speak the same language, like Honduras, um, yeah, I've gone to a lot of countries and trained where we don't really speak the same language, but we do, and it's instant community. Like you need anything, you travel to some town, you find a gym, you roll, and then the next day you want to know where good Thai food is. You got like three new best friends you can message and ask, like, "Hey, what's good to do around here?" It is a community that there's nothing like it, and the best people in the world are still kind of accessible, which is weird. I rolled with Marcelo Garcia in New York, who, if you know jujitsu, a lot of people consider him the GOAT. He's my GOAT, even if, I know Gordon Ryan might be better or whatever, but he's my GOAT. He's just like he's Mr. Jiu-Jitsu. He's the nicest man in Jiu-Jitsu. And I just showed up and he rolled with me. Like you can't just go shoot hoops with Michael Jordan. Like good luck. But Jiu-Jitsu is
I
very
understand,
tight.
yeah.
Very tight. We went to the ADCC trials and met Gordon Ryan, met Nicky Rod, met like some of the best people in jujitsu, and they're just really cool guys. And they'll take picture with you, they'll talk to you. Andrew Tackett is one of the nicest people I've ever met, and on the mat, he's not, but in real life, he is. Like there's just really good humans, and I don't know. We used to joke that the black belt was almost like a I don't know what the word is, but it's like a test for good humans. Like you're not going to get, it's not really the case anymore. It's too popular. There are some not good people in the jujitsu world, and that's becoming more apparent
That's
sometimes lately.
inevitable, yeah.
It is, but there is something about somebody that's gone through jujitsu for 12 years that they've been humbled that much.
Mm,
There's nothing that humbles you and builds you up like jujitsu. Like you can go to the gym and you can get jacked and you can get confidence, but you're not going to get humility. You can get humility by getting humiliated and not get any confidence. In jujitsu, you're constantly getting humbled by somebody half your size or a girl, God forbid. I've had my butt kicked by Liz Clay. She's one of the best in the world. You're constantly getting humbled, but you're also constantly getting built up. And in the end, you're just kind of left with a good person typically. Like you're constantly getting humbled, constantly getting built up, getting confidence and yet humility. It's really a beautiful thing.
and you're talking about Michael Jordan, he's not gonna be humbled by you going out and
No.
playing basketball with him in any way at all, you know? Yeah. Can you hit on, like, what kinda differences did you, from your perspective, see between Japanese jiu-jitsu and Brazilian jiu-jitsu?
Oh man. So
I know you could go on and on just from your experience.
yeah. So it's like, okay, what do Christians believe? Well, it really depends which Christian you're talking to. I'm a Christian, so that's why I went there. But like Japanese jiu-jitsu, what's that like? It really depends who's teaching it. A lot of Japanese jiu-jitsu might be 101 things to do when someone grabs your collar. My teacher was very open-minded. So we were doing 10th planet stuff. We were doing go-go platas. We were doing anything we could find. Like it was a very open-minded class.
Mhm.
For me, the biggest difference was one, the progression. Like I got my black belt in 2 years. That's like blue belt stuff. You should be a blue belt after a year or two.
Mm.
So progression's insane, just way too fast, in my opinion. Um, it's also that there was, at least in my gym, again, it varies, but there was less emphasis on sparring. And that's really where you troubleshoot things and build your game and actually build the skill is through active resistance. If you're just drilling and not sparring, you just, you're never putting yourself to the test. Um, I would also say it's more self-defense focused. Those are probably the biggest differences, at least with my experience. But like I say, it's going to vary drastically, gym to gym, school to school, instructor to instructor. But the three biggest differences for me would be the no sparring, the focus on self-defense, and then just, being a 2 year black belt is just different, like there's so much between getting mount and getting the armbar. There are a million little micro things in there, little adjustments, little things that'll throw you off. If all you do is practice getting them out and doing an armbar, you're not going to learn what to do when their hips turn that way, when the elbow slightly turns that way. Like, you're not going to perfect that. You're not going to level up that move if all you're doing is just drilling it again and again without someone trying to get away. You're also probably not going to learn as fast if all you do is spar and you don't drill it 1,000 times. So a lot of
Mhm.
people are all one or all the other. I'm kind of 50-50. I think you have to have almost equal parts of drilling and sparring. I would say sparring is more important, but yeah, those are the biggest
Sure.
differences just from my experience.
So what was it like when you guys opened there?
Oh
Oh
man.
man.
You want to talk about that?
Yeah, we had the opportunity that almost the whole jiu-jitsu community of Fairbanks showed up to our first day. We had a huge open mat, we did the balloons and cake and all that stuff and pictures, and we had representatives from all the gyms in town. There's 4 primary gyms in town currently, and it was awesome. We felt accepted, we felt the love of the community, which, Carl went on about, and I think perfect detail about how the community of jiu-jitsu, gives us or exists. Um, but yeah, so we opened the doors, and at first, like, you could see behind, like, we didn't have mats on the walls, we didn't have a striking program, like, it was bare
We didn't
bones.
even have a kids class for the first few months.
Yeah, we didn't have a kids class, like, we thought we were gonna have a couple more instructors than we did, um, and it just didn't play out the way we initially thought for instructors. So I ended up teaching the fundamentals class at first. He's teaching the advanced classes. We had two other gentlemen, black belts, who were helping teach a little bit. But him and I were basically living here for the first year, I would say. Um,
Wow, wow. Yeah.
and it was neat. It was fun to be bare bones. I like where we're at. We've got a lot of different options now. We're getting ready to launch a pretty good fitness program, to kind of incorporate that into our stuff. So yeah, it's from where we started to where we are now, like, it's night and day. Gym looks 1,000 times different. Uh,
About 4 years, right?
yeah, yeah. The mentality of the student is awesome. Our average kid student can show us the arm bar mount, like the different positions and some basic attacks within a month or 2 very easily, which is really
Oh,
nice.
wow.
Even our little kids, like, "Hey, go ahead and get them out," and, the ones that have been here showing up, 2, 3 days a week, like, they can get into those positions. It's gratifying. Carl and I both love teaching. Like, I'm convinced him and I, that was what we were brought into this world for, was to teach this to people, and the students have helped make this place for us.
Yeah,
Really
there's
great.
nothing better than when you're at the grocery store and you hear, "Hey, coach," and
Yeah,
some kid runs up to you. Like,
yeah,
Mhm. Oh, I
you
used to be
know,
a teacher. I'd get the same thing. Well,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, a while back. Yeah. Mr. Walden!
yeah.
yeah.
You don't live at the school?
Yeah, like, I'm 6'1", 230 pounds, covered in tattoos, necks tattooed up and whatnot, and I'll be walking through the grocery store, and all of a sudden, like, this little kid comes running and hugging me, and just the regular people standing around going, "What's
Yeah,
going
yeah.
on here?" Like,
Yeah.
but it's an opportunity to, like, to do great things with these little people. So,
I know you guys, really went over it in detail, but if you guys had to sum it up, to people outside looking in, what is jujitsu to you?
wanna start?
Yeah, I mean, for me, jujitsu, one of my favorite quotes was from my instructor, Jordan. He said, "Jujitsu will help you redefine what failure means." Because sometimes you like think that, oh, you failed at this or you failed at that. It's like, no, you learned something from that. You got better from that. And the only way to get good at jujitsu is to tap out 1,000 times. Like, you got to be the nail for a long time before you're the hammer. It really teaches you how to go through something hard and not
Mhm.
quit. Um, Another thing that I'm always telling my white belts is You're not going to escape from this position right now. You're new and I'm on top of you. You're not going to get out. But if you get in this shape, it'll suck less. It'll hurt less if you can get on your side, get a frame here, get a frame there. You can make this hard thing hurt a little less. And there's a lot of that in life. Sometimes you're going through something that is the hardest thing you've ever gone through, but with a couple little changes, you can make it hurt a little less.
Yeah.
And you also learn when to let go of things. Sometimes in jiu-jitsu, you'll be in a position where a grip is really good and helping you. And then the position and reality changes and you don't have guard anymore. They're in side control. This grip now is hurting you and it's leaving you open for pain. And you got to learn when to let go of that thing that you wanted so bad. There's a lot in jiu-jitsu that you learn that just applies to every aspect of life. And it's one of the best forges to build good people. I just love it. Wrestling, same thing. I mean, grappling in general. I love it.
Mhm.
If I was to sum up jujitsu, I would use a lot of what Carl said. It was beautiful and well put together.
It was beautiful.
For me, it is the opportunity to prove that my mind can beat addiction, that my heart can find peace in the most violent scenarios. And it's the place that has taught me the most about what it is to be a good person.
How so? The good
I
person
was a
part.
I was a very violent individual for a very long time. I was very angry. Um, I was not abusive to my children, but I was a yelling dad for a really long time. When I would drink and I would go out to the bars, I was getting into fights constantly. Um, I've gotten very fortunate that I've never gotten arrested for it. Um, there probably were several times I should have. Um, and I've hurt people. I lived a bad life for a long time due to my inner demons and mental health struggles through choosing alcohol as my option. Jiu-jitsu at first, like, it taught me to temper my anger, and now I don't have anger issues at all. I'm
Okay.
willing to listen to people. I'm willing to life's not hard when you got somebody our size trying to strangle you on a daily basis and you're volunteering for that. It teaches
Uh-huh.
you humility, like Carl was saying, but it also teaches you that the heaviest things in your heart can be overcome. If we can do things physically like we do with jujitsu, like we were talking about that big guy, that 350-pound dude, like
360.
360,
Yeah.
if we can move him around, you know, I can go out there and survive a day without drinking. I can go see a therapist. I can work the problems in my mind. And on top of that, if I ever really need a hug, I say, Carl, let's roll. And at some point I might hug him just for a second. But
That was a
it
hug.
is, yeah, it's yeah, it's made me the best version of me.
Why, do you think people love it there? Why do people keep coming back to the academy? What is it
And
about
it's
the
all the things
place?
we said. It's all the things we said. Like it is meant to be a family. There's when we opened this gym, there were other good gyms in town, really good gyms. But I wanted a place where the average soccer mom can come learn jujitsu. The nerdy kid with no athletic ability whatsoever can come in and learn jujitsu. The D1 wrestler can also come in and learn jujitsu. Um, it's a family friendly. Nick and I both have a ton of kids. It's a tribe, it's a community, and our vibe is just different. A lot of times it's really scary walking into a jiu-jitsu gym for the first time. Like it really
Mhm.
is. Like you've never trained before. Like you just walk in to a martial arts gym, not sure what to expect. Is someone just gonna try to beat me up? It's like the vibe here is so chill. Um, and people just love being around like-minded people. They're just trying to better themselves and build each other up and strive together for something. Um, yeah, the vibe of our tribe is something special.
And a lot of it is surrounded by how inclusive we are. We do anti-bullying seminars for kids. We do women's self-defense seminars constantly. We pair with local charity organizations and nonprofits when it comes to doing like Women's Health Month, stuff like that. We want everyone, like he was saying, we want everyone to walk through this door and feel they can train here. We never want anybody to feel intimidated. We don't want anybody to feel like, oh, they're not fit enough. They don't like oh, I'm too fat. Like I started at 265. He started at 280. Like we understand
Yeah.
what it is big and not be able to touch your toes, but get out here on the mat. And we also focus really heavy and we take a lot of pride. We're known for the gym that you can bring your autistic kid to. We
Okay.
have several members of ours on the full spectrum of autism, and we love working with them. We just got a few new students yesterday that are on the spectrum, and I was talking with the mom the day before, and she asked me, she was like, "Hey, so you're aware like 2 of my kids have autism?" I was like, "Perfect."
They're going to be really good then.
Yeah.
Like, that's just kind of a running joke in jiu-jitsu that
Yeah.
jiu-jitsu is all about recognizing autism. Like it's just like once they find their hyper focus and find it in jiu-jitsu, like anybody that's never heard of Mikey Musanechi or however you say his name,
I don't.
yeah, I don't know. He's like one of the best in the world. Super autistic, super nice, but he's yeah. I really do love how everyone's welcome here. One of the kids that stops in time to time is borderline, like not
Almost nonverbal.
nonverbal, yeah.
Yeah.
But he has fun. He has fun. He gets out there, he throws the balls when we're playing the games, he tries the jujitsu moves, he has a blast. Cool. Like that's what I want, and that's what we provide.
And he's been coming off and on for a couple of years, and he's at the point because he's 10 now. He can actually like, Bruce, go ahead and get into this position, and he can do that stuff.
Yeah, he's an awesome kid.
But he's
Awesome.
borderline nonverbal. So being able to provide that alone out of all the other things that we honestly provide, like that hits my heart the hardest or the best.
Thank you guys for what you're doing. That's so amazing. I know it makes it more fun as well. You know, being able to welcome in so many different people, and you guys, I know your perspectives change, and that enhances your life as well.
Yeah.
What would you tell people looking in, about jujitsu? What would you tell them about jujitsu? What it can do for them?
Well, and before we started, you said you were thinking about starting, so I'm just gonna say it to you.
Yeah.
Um, so the most important belt anyone ever puts on is the white belt. Like it's not the black belt, it's not the blue belt, it's the white belt. The minute you step on the mat and try, you've differentiated yourself from the vast majority of the population. Most people never do. Most people never know how helpless they are if a grappler grabs them. They go through their life with this sense of I don't know, false sense of security, this sense that they can defend themselves. But the minute a really good, even high school wrestler grabs you, you'll find out that you don't know what to do. And it's a very vulnerable feeling. But if you can get over that vulnerability and just humble yourself enough to, lose to someone smaller or younger, then it's super fun. Like it's addicting. Once you start, you should never stop. Jiu-jitsu will change what it means to you over the course of your life. When I
Mm,
started, I was very all about it, going to multiple classes a week, teaching at 3 different places at one point. And then I got really busy with a corporate job. I had 9 kids at the time, and all I could do was once a week for a long time, but I never stopped. It
mm,
took me 14 years to get my black belt because I wasn't going very often. I just didn't have time. And now, once again, it cycled back to where jujitsu is a huge part of my life.
mm.
It's like any other relationship. It'll have its highs, it'll have its lows. There'll be some days you're excited to do it, some days you're not so much. But if you keep showing up, good things happen. Like everyone should try it. Everyone should try it. No, it's
What would you say? Like my big thing is, I can figure out. Well, my biggest thing is time. Of course, I already mentioned that. But the other thing is that I've had an injury. I dislocated my shoulder I'm sure a lot of people listening have, had injuries before.
Well, I'll
This
answer
has
the
been a
time
long
thing.
time ago. I was, 20s, and it's been fine since then, but it's on my mind, you know.
Yeah.
I'm scared.
So I'll answer the time thing and then Nick will talk about injuries. But like you have to make time for self-care. You just have to. In this world, it's so easy to go from your couch to your car to your job, sitting on your phone, no exercise whatsoever, completely neglecting this meat wagon that we're all driving around. Like this,
Yeah.
it's important. You got to take care of yourself, and people know that. And if someone says, "Oh, I don't have the time to do any exercise," like we all know, like you can find a couple hours in the week to go to the gym. Like you just can.
Yeah.
And you can find 1 or 2 hours a week to get on the mat. If the gym closest to you doesn't have the time, look for another one or look for one that has a morning class if that's more convenient. But if you can just get on the mat for 1 hour twice a week, it'll change your life. It just will. A lot of people have this all or nothing mentality. I'm thinking of one blue belt in particular who I love dearly. And he had his last MMA fight at like 52 or 3 or something. Like he's an absolute beast,
Yep.
but
Mm,
he's all or nothing with things. Like he either has to be on the mat all the time or he just won't go. And it's like you can't have that all or nothing mentality. Like, yeah, life gets busy. Cool. Just come once this week.
yeah.
Next week slower, come 3 times, whatever, but just keep coming. If you have an
Yeah.
all or nothing mentality, then you just won't really excel at anything because you'll either be the best at it or not do it. Like that's not a way to go through life. You just gotta get out there,
Yeah.
put 1 or 2 hours a week on the mat, and it will change your life over time. You will get better quicker if you're there 4 or 5 times, but screw that. You're busy. Just wherever you're at in life, Jiu-jitsu can fit in there somewhere. Just don't a lot of people will be a huge competitor in like their late teens or early 20s, and they'll be going to tournaments and all these accolades, and then they get a job in kids and they can't do that anymore. So they just stop. Don't do that. Don't do that. You can't do that anymore. That's valid. You're making choices. You're saying my family's more important than winning all these tournaments. I agree. But don't walk away from the sport just because you can't do what you used to do. Just do whatever you can do now. So,
Yeah, and from home, I work out, 3 days a week. We're talking half hour each day. So maybe, I should just think of it differently. I kinda do
yeah,
have the
just
time.
reset
Yeah.
expectations. Yeah.
And then as far as injuries, the reason I'm covering it, because between the two of us, I've had the most egregious injury. In 23, I broke my neck.
Oh my god.
Um, yeah, C4 through C7 is permanently fused. Um, I had to change how I do jujitsu. I had to change a lot of the aspects of my combat sports journey because of the injury.
Do you tell the
I
person you're rolling with, like, "Hey, this is what's up with me," each time? That I think I'm thinking
um,
of that as well, like, or
and that's part of it. Like if I'm
yeah,
rolling with somebody new who doesn't know that I broke my neck, I'm gonna be like, hey, just so you know, don't try to guillotine me real hard. Don't try to do certain chokes on me too difficult. But at the same time, I've gone back to competing.
okay,
So, and I don't tell my competitor that. That's just not how
yeah,
it works with competing.
yeah,
I've just learned to be a lot more mindful. And I've also done a bunch of exercises to strengthen my neck muscles and stuff like that. Like I've got a stupid strong neck because of it.
yeah,
Um, so I never quit, like Carl was saying. I couldn't roll for 6 months after the surgery, and after 3 months, the surgery, I came in and I was still, like I was helping with classes on occasion, but I wasn't doing the activity myself, like, I was instructing only. But I was watching videos, I was looking at tutorials, I was, staying in touch with friends of mine throughout the country, because I've had a similar opportunities to Carl where I've traveled a bunch and have met so many amazing people across the world through jujitsu. I never let it diminish my ability to be a jujitsu practitioner by any means. And injuries happen. This sport breaks your body. It's the running joke. Hey, come do jujitsu. It's good for you. Oh, it is? Yeah. Hey, be careful. The shoulder had to get rebuilt. I've got my lower back's fused. Like if my knee's been rebuilt, like you'll find these grapplers with all these really heavy injuries, or if they do it long enough, it happens. But it's the ability to keep coming back and know your limitations. There are two types of people who do jiu-jitsu. There's the hobbyist, there's the competitor. They're vastly different individuals.
Yeah.
And you have a lot of control on how, like, if you
How
pick
far
your
it goes.
correctly, yeah, it's like, just don't try to win every roll, man. And especially
Yeah.
if you're new, like your shoulders hurt, don't roll. You're new. Why would you get out there and fight? You don't know how yet. You don't know how to do it. Why would you roll? Just
Yeah.
go to do the drills, do the class, and then watch the rolling and pay attention. And then once you feel comfortable trying to roll, talk to your professor first and pick a really good old brown belt or black belt. Tell them about your shoulder and they won't hurt you. If you try to keep pace with some other big meathead white belt or blue belt competitor getting ready for a tournament, you're going to get broke, but you
Yeah.
have a lot of control over that. Your ego will hurt you a lot more than your partner.
And that's where the most important thing in all of jiu-jitsu, and this goes into all aspects of jiu-jitsu, is the tap. Carl touched on this early on, talking about we can go 100% because of the tap. Him and I could be rolling. The moment I tap, it stops.
Mhm.
And it doesn't matter why I tapped. He's not going to judge me for how I tapped. If he pressure taps me, he might poke at me a little bit.
Maybe.
That's him and I.
Yeah.
But the tap affords us the ability to regulate the roll at all points, regardless of what the other person's trying to do. So if there's ever
Yeah.
a concern for your shoulder, just
There's
immediately tap.
always that out,
and
if you will.
tap, reset, go back at it. Or if the person's not being respectful of you in how the boundaries you established, you just don't roll with them. You're in Pensacola, Florida. There's probably 100 gyms within 100 miles of you.
Yeah.
You know, and there's always going to be training partners, and you're going to find good ones.
Thank you guys so much for what you guys are doing. It sounds really exciting. I would love for you guys to be on again, like sometime, and we can like catch up and see how things are going and progressing, and
Yeah, it'd be fun.
what you guys are doing for like the community and being so inclusive. And I bet it's a fun place to be. Really, it sounds like it. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for your stories. Really amazing stories, and it's so nice to meet you guys.
You as well. Thank you.
Yeah. Have a blessed
Yeah.
day.
You guys too. You have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you soon. All right. Thank y'all so much.
Thanks.
All right. Take care, guys. Bye.
See you.
Hello, Nate. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm really good. Got a little fan going over here. I'm feeling good right now.
Nice. Yeah, we're both in opposite ends of the country, but both warm, I'm sure. So
Yes. Very humid here. Is it humid there in Arizona?
no, it's a dry heat right now, as they say. So we're hoping for some good summer rains, and that'll bring some humidity in for a bit, but nothing like Florida.
Okay. Well, nice to meet you, bro. And thank you so much for being on, telling your story and getting out kind of like to everybody, what jujitsu is and what it can do for people. Can you start by just telling everybody your first and last name and the name of the place and kind of like its location and just talk about it, like the classes you guys offer, that kind of thing?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name's Nate Danforth. I'm a black belt under Sal Flores he's out of Palatine, BJJ. I now own Ironwood Jiu-Jitsu here in Northwest Marana, and we offer classes for kids and adults. Our kids program has grown far more than I had expected to. So we have more kids these days than adults, but we cater to kids and adults. We have wide range of classes. We have is an early morning crew. So we have a 6 a.m. class that's actually run by one of our other instructors. We've got a midday class a couple times a week, and then kind of our core classes in the late afternoon and early evenings. We start with kids. We advertise as early as 5, but we have a lot of parents that are eager to get their kiddos in. And so we've made some exceptions for some 4-year-olds. We're always happy to have a kiddo come try it out, see what they think, see if it's a good fit for them, or if we encourage them to maybe come back in a few months to wait for some maturity. But yeah, so basically 5 and up, and yeah.
Can you hit on one thing? What kind of stuff do y'all work on at the very youngest age? Let's say 5.
Yeah, so
So people can
unpacks a lot.
understand, like, what does that mean?
Yes,
Yeah.
that is a great question. You'd be surprised how capable a 5-year-old is. I mean, I was surprised. I had this idea of the box I was going to have to put kids of that age in on what they were capable of learning, and how I present instruction is different. It's not step by step. I really give broad goals, broad tasks, and give the kiddo an ability to figure it out. But I have little kiddos pulling off beautiful, beautiful jujitsu that looks very technical, but they were just guided in the general task of what they were trying to do. So, I'm not sure if you've heard the term yet because you are outside of kind of the jiu-jitsu world and looking in, but there's this trend towards this CLA, constraint-led approach. We're not quite a full CLA-based gym, but we do a lot of game-based training for both our kids and adults.
Tell us
And
what
so,
that stands for if
so
you
CLA,
know. Tell us what that is. I have
yeah,
no idea. Yeah.
I don't know if I don't think I want to go down that rabbit hole completely because that opens a whole big
Sure.
on teaching methodologies, but it's called
Yeah.
constraint-led approach. And the goal is that, or the approach is essentially that you, rather than direct instruction on everything, you guide the student in what their goals are going to be, what they can and can't do, and then give them kind of a sandbox environment to play with it and figure it out. And I've done a lot of that with my adults as well, but it started with my kids. And one of the things I love about that approach, we borrow a lot of those ideas, is that some kids get overwhelmed and they come out of school or some other area and they're always being told exactly what to do, where to do it, what time to do it, and they're thrown into structure to some degree, I think, too early. And martial arts can, a lot of parents bring their kids into structure, but if the kid is just looking at class as just another time where I'm just being told what to do, when to do it, how to do it, so I really like a little bit more kind of open exploration for kiddos, and we give them a little bit of the boundaries of what they're trying to do, and then give them a chance to work with it. So, give
I
you an
understand
example.
it
So
completely.
we might play. I totally stole the name from another instructor, but play a game called Hooks and Posts, and it's an open guard game where the kiddo starts with an ankle grip, and then their goal is to just knock the other kid down with their feet, right? And we show them how they can hook with their feet, how they can push with their feet, and they're just trying to maintain those connections and knock their partner down. And so we might start with a brand new student, and maybe that's just a brand new 5-year-old, right? And I won't even have the kiddo who's standing do anything except try to keep their balance. That way, the other kiddo can just practice how I move my body to knock this person down using these hooks and these posts, which are a big element of an open guard, right? And, I'll set up kids playing that, and within a couple of weeks, they look like they're pro guard players. It's incredible. So, that's what it looks like for a kid.
I mean, do you think it's a part of it is because giving them a little more leeway or a little more, play with it?
Yeah, absolutely. And what I like about it, better than just.
I mean, it sounds like you're talking from experience. This is not a theoretical thing. You're already practicing it,
Oh
right?
yeah. We've been playing with this, borrowing some of these ideas, really stealing them from other instructors and stuff. Because I set up as an experiment when I first started teaching with the kiddos, and I was like, if it doesn't work, if I don't see the results that I'd like, I can always go back to very traditional direct instruction. And I know, a lot of schools have been doing positional sparring for a lot of years, but I do think this is a little bit different than just positional sparring. And it just, I love the Develop My Kids program. They have fun. They're not constantly, if they make a mistake, I'm not on them being like, oh, no, you got to put your foot here. Like, they get to explore that, and the mistakes are revealed in whether they got the result they wanted or not. And they very quickly learn where it's effective. I might guide them and help them be like, hey, it might be a little better to connect to the knee or the hip. But it gives them autonomy in their training. And I really feel like it helps empower, especially a lot of my shy kids that are a little timid when they first come in, because to them, I'm just framing everything as a game. But they're all jujitsu skill-based games. So we're not just playing dodgeball or, things like that. They're all skill development for jujitsu. And
Yeah, I see. And the overall approach stems from the fact that from their perspective, right? I mean, you're saying that they're coming in and most of them uh, very likely are over coached if it continues the rest of the day.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah.
stemming from that. Yeah, of course, there's the other practical reasons why that approach could help them more. Letting them make the mistakes on their own and figuring out why it didn't work and what does work on their own with guidance.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
yeah, you're starting with the fact that just coming into the gym already, they already have this, they could have this mindset of, yeah,
Yeah, they're afraid to fail. Like a lot of the kiddos, I'm actually seeing a increased trend. So I started teaching kids as a blue and purple belt, and so many years ago, and I've kind of seen a shift in some of the kids, and there's a tendency to be afraid to fail. And if the way they're learning jujitsu embraces failure as part of the learning process, they really overcome that fear. In my experience so far, a lot quicker, and we're having good results too. It's a combination of the good results are, hey, are the kids enjoying it? Are they learning? Are they progressing? Do they want to come back? That's part of it, but efficacy is a matter too. We have kids that compete and they're doing well at competition. So, we have objective standards that are showing that, this approach is working. And we do teach directly. There's certain things that we certainly teach. It's not a go figure it out on everything, but it's, it gets me excited when I
you
first
do
start
lean,
teaching.
you do lean into that when you think it's effective. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Yep.
Can you tell us, tell everybody that doesn't know, the progression of belts? So it's white, blue.
Yeah.
What's
So
next? You almost said
white
brown,
for
purple. Yeah,
adults. Yeah. For adults, white, blue, purple, brown, and then black. And then after that,
got it.
I don't even mention it because I don't think I'll live long enough to get the next colored belt. But there's like coral belts, so red and black, and then red and white, and then solid red. But based on time progression, I won't be eligible for that next color until I'm 71. So I don't bother.
Oh,
When the kids ask me about it, I'm like, this is it, black belt. That's about it. So
okay. Can you go back as far as you want? Tell us kind of, your jujitsu story and then lead into the academy.
yeah. So my jujitsu story actually really starts kind of long before jujitsu. I always was fascinated with martial arts when I was a young kiddo, like Bruce Lee, ashamedly Steven Seagal in Under Siege, Jean-Claude
Yeah.
Jean-Claude Van Damme, like all the
Jean-Claude Van
movies,
Damme, yeah.
boxer, and just like,
Chuck Norris.
I'm crazy about all that stuff. And I really wanted to train some sort of martial art. My parents never really, they entertained the idea briefly, but then it never panned out. When fast forward a little
Did you
bit.
grow up in Arizona or?
Oh no, so I grew up in Maine. I'm originally
Okay,
from
got it.
Maine. Yeah, so opposite coast. When I was 12, my father left and actually went to Florida. But he took off, and things kind of went a little south in my family and just for me, and dealing with some anger issues. And not sure if you're familiar with these. They're called Boys and Girls Clubs. They're like kind of like an after school program to help kids
Yes.
have access to. So I was at one of those, and just dealing with big emotions, got in a big fight. And the next day got called into the executive director's office, and I thought I was getting booted out of the Boys and Girls Club. Instead, Sensei Ken Walsh extended an invite to their karate program, a program that I'd wanted to do for years. And I was like, well,
Wow.
we can't pay for it. And he's like, don't worry about that. Like, just come train. And so,
That
so
worked out.
at an early age, martial arts was a community for me when I needed it most. And the people in that group really, yeah, they gave me what I needed at a time where I desperately needed it. Things went a little more south, and I ended up actually going into foster care. So my brother and I got taken away from my parents and or from my mother, and ended up in the foster care system, bounced around a lot of different homes, got in some trouble, had a propensity to fight. It's probably why I liked all those martial arts movies. Got in some trouble, ended up in juvenile detention facilities, and ultimately ended up in a good foster home that really was able to kind of help me make some progress. And with that, ended up finding a martial arts school. I expressed interest in martial arts, and my foster mother said, well, let's do it. And I found at 15 another martial arts community that took me in and was a community that I needed to help kind of steer me straight. So I did that for that martial arts.
When you're hitting on that earlier and now about the martial arts community being what you needed, so from a kid's perspective, can you tell me what it was, what that meant as a kid, what they were
Yeah, I mean, man,
providing
that's
you,
yeah,
that community?
that's a good point. So one, just people who seem to care. But they were people who cared, but also held you to a standard. There was a expectation of, um, you know, how you performed, how you behaved, how, having, rules and structure and things like that. For me at that time, what I was going through, I definitely um, needed that accountability. I think is a big part of it. I think big part of community is accountability, where you come in, you might state goals, but they're going to hold you to those goals that you stated yourself. Like, if you want to be good at this martial art, this is what that's going to take. This is what you're going to have to do, and just people that cared through just being there, and then cared through that accountability. Holding you to a standard. So,
Got it. Okay.
um, I moved away from Maine when I was 20 and moved down to New Mexico for a little bit, and then Arizona. And fast forward into my late 20s, I let myself go. I got very overweight. All my blood lipids and stuff were really dangerously high. My father's side of the family has heart issues. He had his first heart attack at 34, ultimately passed away at 49. And going into my late 20s, I also smoked. I'd smoked for like 11 years at like 28, 29. Was like, okay, I got to make a change in my life. I quit smoking, but then I put a ton of weight on. And so I ended up being around about 250 pounds, and was like, I need to make a change in my life. And always been fascinated with martial arts, and had done martial arts, and thought maybe that's my way to make a lifestyle change. And started
And
looking
up
around.
until then, you were doing, was it jujitsu or
I
other
mean,
martial
at that
arts?
point, I wasn't doing any martial arts, right? So at that point, so I left
Okay.
Maine at 20, and then spent basically the next 8 or 9 years without martial arts in my life. Um,
Yeah.
and then so when I was looking to
But
go
the first
again,
school you went to, was that what kind of martial art was that?
so the first one was karate that I did with the Boys and
Yeah.
Girls Club, and then the
Yeah.
one when I was 15 was it was kind of a traditional Japanese jiu-jitsu, very very stylized, very very kata based and things like that. So it wasn't looks very different than Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Um, so I was exploring, like, what does the martial arts landscape look like? What should I jump into? And I noticed that most of the jiu-jitsu guys seem to be in pretty good shape. You didn't see the overweight black belts running around a school, and I was like, maybe I should try that one out. So I did, and man,
No kung fu pandas.
no kung fu pandas, exactly, yeah. Um, so I found one that was really close to me. They were running a Groupon special, and decided to try them out. And I stayed with that school for 5 years, but that was, it was very quickly that I was hooked. I was immediately
Did the
shedding.
weight drop really fast,
Oh
or
my good,
how did
yeah.
the weight
So
go?
a month in, I decided to sign up for a tournament, and so I started in August of 2013, and there was a tournament announced, and I was like, I'm going to do that. And so I picked a weight class that I thought was attainable, and so I was in the 240s at that point. I picked 205. And in 4 months, so the tournament was in December. In 4 months, I dropped over 40 pounds to be able to make weight. And when I showed
Okay.
up and made
So
weight,
jujitsu in itself was already working for your
yeah,
life
yeah,
in a sense.
yes,
It,
absolutely.
it, yeah, it made you lose all that weight really fast just because you had the tournament coming up. There's a concrete reason. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, and that really was, I moved beyond that as a way to manage my weight, but for a few years, tournaments
Yeah.
were a good way for me to have that, like, I've got to make this, and so just showing up and making weight at that tournament was my first win. Just stepping on the scale. I actually won the first tournament, which was cool and definitely served to help cement my addiction. But
Okay.
I pretty much knew in those first 4 to 6 months that this is where I wanted to be, and I didn't ever not want to be on the mats.
Were you like confident going into that tournament, thinking that did you feel like you could, or was you coming from
Man,
a
when I made
point
weight, I
where
didn't care.
you didn't know? What?
So, like I said, for me, I think the initial win was just making weight, and then whatever happened after, I didn't even I was less attached to
Yeah.
that result. I mean, I
Yeah.
fought my tail off, but yeah, I mean, my teammates thought I would do well. I was a little bit
Okay.
of a big fish in a small pond. I did well early, and I think it was just hunger for it, hunger to improve and get better.
Okay. So where were we? So you won the tournament.
Yeah.
And where were you?
So the tournament was in New Mexico. We went over to Albuquerque as a team and competed there. And then we came back, and then yeah, like I was hooked after that. I trained more, I competed more. Ended up sustaining some injuries. But I always made sure I stayed connected to the community. I'd come into class. I'm a bit of a shutterbug, like to take photos, so I'd come into class and take photos of the team and just try to stay connected even when I'd have an injury. And then I stayed with that school for about 5 years and decided that a switch was going to be in my best interest, and found another school where I got my brown belt. And then COVID hit. Well, a combination of factors. COVID hit, and we moved. So we moved out of town, kind of on the edge of town, into a more rural area that was about an hour away from my school. And then COVID hit. So we moved in November of 2019, and then that the whole world shut down. So I ended up starting that little club out in this rural area. There's a friend of mine out here who had a garage. We're actually kind of a big shop, and we had some mats set up. And I just started as a club. It wasn't a for-profit thing or set up as a business structure or anything like that. It was just I was trying to create training partners in the middle of nowhere, and so taught out there.
So it was the distance and COVID, right? That was
The distance
started
and COVID was a combined factor. So I kind of spent a couple years as a like a jiu-jitsu gypsy, a little bit of a Ronin. Didn't have an instructor. Was just kind of working with students and trying to teach them what I knew and build training partners. And then a couple of years later, in I think it was 2023, I ended up finding my current professor in black belt that I'm under, Sal Flores at Palatine BJJ. And I very quickly knew that was where the man I wanted to get my black belt from. I just had a very respectable individual. I loved the way he led his academy. He was a very just very, I mean, overused word, but humble, very humble man. When he led, it wasn't about him, and he was always propping up the people around him. And I just really, really respected him. I was like, this is the man I want to get my black belt from. And so I stuck around there and got my black belt from him in July of 2024. And then where I'm at, the area I live, I'm still 30 minutes, I live 35 minutes away from that school. And I talked to him. I was like, I've always wanted to run an academy. I've always wanted to have a school. Where I live is very underserved. And what do you think about me opening my own school in this area? Do I have your blessing? And do you think we can make this happen as where, I'm under your school? And he said, absolutely, of course, because he's the kind of man who props up people around him. And so he said, let's do it. But in the area that I'm in, there's a lot of residential development, but there's not a lot of commercial development. And so finding a place to teach or just to open a brick and mortar school was very difficult. We put in an offer on one place, but just I wasn't they didn't like my financials, and they said no. And we thought we had a backup plan for that, for somebody who would kind of come in and back me up, but that fell through. And I was like, I'm not taking no for an answer. We're going to make this happen. And so I decided to buy a cargo trailer and some really nice roll-up mats, and rented a big giant pole barn from the town of Marana. And I would go out there, got the permits, got everything I needed to do to be legit with them, insurance and all that. And 4 days a week would haul the trailer over to the park, lay out the mats, mop them up so they were clean for the students, teach a kids class, teach an adult class, and then the adult class would help me roll the mats back up and put them in the cargo trailer. We did that.
It was for profit.
Yeah,
Wait,
so that one, we were barely breaking even there, just to cover the rental because it was an hourly
Yeah.
rental rate for the facilities we were using, and then
Yeah.
insurance and all advertising and all that. Like we weren't making any money, but yes, it was an
Yeah.
LLC, a for profit.
That's how you have to start. Sometimes just do it. Yeah.
Yes, that
No matter
exactly.
what.
Just do it. Yep, just do it. I was like, we're gonna make this happen some way or another. And it's funny because I have most of my students, my adult students that started with me there, are still with me now in the building. And we joke about they've got to be kind of special to sign up with this crazy guy teaching jiu-jitsu in the park. But yeah, so we were there for like 3 months, and then I found this other property that I kept driving by, and I was like, I think that's commercial. Doesn't look like it's being used. I wonder. It's kind of worn down, but I wonder. So I wrote a letter and I left it on the door of the house that was next door that seemed like it was associated with the commercial property. 3 days later, I got out of class at Palatine, and I had a missed call from the owner and a voicemail, and he said, like, I'm definitely interested. Come on down, let's chat. And so April of 2025, we got the keys to the building we're in now. And most of my students that started with me in the park, we ended up with 21 total in the park, kids and adults. And most of those stuck with me here in the building. So that's where we are.
When you went to your professor, you said that you had, I think you said you had always wanted, or for a very long time wanted to open an academy.
Yeah.
Why was that? Why did you want to open an academy?
So, I mean, for one, jiu-jitsu just completely 180 to my life. Like I like to say that there's 2 chapters. There's some diversity in that first chapter, but the real difference in who I am of who I was before jiu-jitsu versus who I am after jiu-jitsu is just a completely different person, just in my overall health, but just my mindset, the way I go about handling problems, the way I address difficulties in my life, the way I think about things. It's just, completely different kind of person. And so I very much wanted that for other people. I wanted to be able to spread that. And I've always, in everything I've ever done or anything I've ever been into, as soon as I get into it, I want to spread the word. I want to share it with others. And I've done that in other areas of my life as well. So I spent a decade training dogs, and that started as a hobby, training my own dogs, competitively doing competition obedience. And very shortly after, I was like, okay, I want to help other people with their dogs. And so became a dog trainer. And so that's just been kind of the theme for me. I when I get really on fire for something, I want to share that with others.
You want to share, you want to teach. Yeah. Well, tell me about let me ask you this question in this way. What about your personality is reflected in the academy there?
Oh, wow. What about my personality is reflected in the academy here? Growth through.
You have a fun personality. Just, I mean, I could talk to you for hours.
Yeah. Growth through hard work and perseverance. Like that, no matter where you're at, like you can always be better. You can always be further than where you're at now if you just put the work in, put the time in, and persevere. That, like, there's nothing special about, like, that's just what you find out about talented people too. Like, yeah, there's a little bit of talent, but like the real growth comes from doing hard things, and that there's no easy fix. And jiu-jitsu taught that to me, that like I can be better in anything I want to be better in, but I gotta do the work. I've gotta sweat. If I want to lose weight, there's no miracle pill.
Sure.
I'm gonna have to sweat. I'm gonna have to grind in the mats. If I want to build a business, I'm gonna have to be actionable. I'm gonna have to do something today that's gonna make that actually happen, right? And sitting around hoping a property is gonna show up wasn't gonna do it. It was making actionable steps to actually open doors. So I think maybe that's
Well, I mean, this might be the answer to this. What you just said might be the answer to the next question. I was going to ask you, what is jiu-jitsu to you? What is it? What has it been for you?
I mean, now it's everything. So I kind of view everything through a jiu-jitsu lens. I have some friends that'll joke that any conversation has a jiu-jitsu analogy, in a couple sentences away. Everything in life to me can be viewed through the kind of the jiu-jitsu lens, as far as any problem that we have, anything that's going on in my life. Like, if you're having something go bad in your life, panicking and freaking out is not going to be the answer. If you're getting smothered and side controlled by some big dude, freaking out is not going to be the answer, right? So just it's how I view everything in life on that staying calm, focusing on the problem in front of me, the immediate problem in front of me, not getting overwhelmed by the end goal, focusing on, you know, the what can I do now to get to my goal, right? And so that might be hard if you haven't trained jujitsu or been in those tough spots where you feel like you're going to die, and just putting a frame in to create a little space so you can breathe again is
Yeah, I was thinking like just one foot in front of the other kind
Yeah,
of thing, like training your mind to kind of, you almost have to force yourself to take little steps instead of big steps. Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. And I think, you know, it's a thing I think a lot of students struggle with when they first come in. You know, they'll ask me, you know, hey coach, I can you help me with this certain problem? And then they're asking for like the end goal. Like, well, how can I win this round with this guy who's been doing it for 5 years? Like, man, we've got to first focus on not letting him get the grips he wants. Let's start small, right? So I think most people,
Yeah.
they're looking too far down the road on their problem instead of like, what can I do right now in this situation to get some sort of somewhere closer to
In this moment in time,
yes, yeah,
it can get that granular. Right. Right.
yeah.
Why do people love it there at the academy? Why is it special? Why is it unique?
That's a good question. You kind of gave me a heads up that question was coming, and I really didn't want to BS it. I had my ideas of why I think people are here, why they come, what I tried to build our academy to hopefully have that result, right? But I did ask my student base. I was like, hey guys, like, could you do me a favor? Like, let me know what is that brings you back? What is it, right?
Yeah.
And it's kind of interesting because there's some things I kind of expected the answers that I got, but I didn't think it would be the overwhelming answer. And because it really ties in with exactly what I wanted, which is community, the people, the community, the fact that, you know, one of my students said, she's like, you walk in and you feel like you're home. Like you're immediately comfortable. You're immediately feeling like you're home. It's not like walking into some other, you know, like a business or that you might like it, but you know, she mentioned that she feels home. A lot of the students, that was their response, that it was the people, it was the community, it was the fact that the people here, they support them, but they also push them and help make them better. There's a good balance between competition and that support, and encouraging people when they come through. I had another student, this gentleman really means a lot to me. He's been started jiu-jitsu before me, but time and life and family had him take some pauses. But he has been around the martial arts and several other martial arts for a really long time. But one of his responses was that, and he summed it up, which made me so happy and so proud to hear it, because it's exactly what my vision was for my academy, is that, you know, he mentioned you might go into a school and if there's a ton of competitors and a ton of athletes, that's probably a good sign that the instruction is high quality, there's good technique. But if that's all you see and you're a hobbyist or just trying to, you know, get off the couch, you might be a little overwhelmed if you don't have that kind of competitor initiative. If all you see are kind of hobbyists and just people there for, you know, to, you know, do something other than pickleball, you know, there might be a great community, but maybe the instruction isn't quite so good. If all you see are families, then maybe it's just a kids focused program. And if you want those other things, you might not get them. And he said it's a rare gym that has all of those things, and we really do. We have people that are just, you know, they're trying to do something other than pickleball, right? And then we have other people that are pursuing glory. You can see it on the wall. I just hung it up the other day above our logo. That is a adult world medal. We have been open for a year and a half, and that our student Amarissa Handy went to Worlds and brought home gold. And so we've got that, but we also have families. We'll do our open mats, and one of the kiddos who was hanging out while his dad was training, or his mom or their mom was training, will jump on and go and roll with their parent in the corner during our open mats. Like, it's a very everybody has a place on the mat here. And even though we have people with aspirations and we have classes where we push hard, nobody feels alienated in that environment. The high level competitors aren't, they're not above training with a hobbyist. The hobbyists aren't, you know, intimidated by the competition. There'll be kids sleeping on the benches on the side of the mats when we're doing, you know, late evening classes. Like, it's just, it's a place where everybody has they're welcomed, right? I joke with my wife, it's like Cheers, you know, where everybody knows your name, you know, except it's a little more healthy than a bar.
Yeah, and the other thing is that, you know, besides of all the reasons why jujitsu at the academies is such a social thing, the other thing is just the very fact that it's year round.
Yeah,
It's year round, it's
yeah,
inside.
yeah,
You can always go. It's never rained out.
yeah,
You know, it's not a
yeah.
season ever,
Yeah.
you
It
know.
was when we were in the park. We had to
Oh,
cancel
yeah.
dust storms a couple times, but
For me,
so,
it was.
yeah,
Your brain just went right to that, right?
yeah, yeah.
Okay. For the outsiders looking in, what would you say to them about jujitsu? What would you tell them about jujitsu if you kind of just had to sum it up?
What would I tell them about you? Oh, man, to give
Somebody
it a
walked
shot.
in right now and just kind of, what's jujitsu? What can it do for me? That kind of thing.
Okay, so I do like there's like a lot of cliches. I do think it can be a little bit overstated, like jujitsu's for everyone. I like a modified version of that. Jujitsu's for anyone, but
Mm,
not for everyone. Because
okay.
you have to be willing to suffer a little bit. You have to be willing to know that growth is going to come on the other side of hard things. And through that, if you're open to that, if you're open to a little suffering, but among friends, it can just make every part of your life better. It's going to help you be more patient. It's going to help you be in better shape. It's a beautiful art, sport, lifestyle. It just, like anything, it can go off the rails one way or the other, you know? So I do think, finding a gym that has the right environment, the right kind of people that's going to work for you. But I think jujitsu itself is perfect. It's people who, if it goes sour, it's people who ruined it. Jujitsu itself is perfect. So,
Okay. Just like everything.
yeah, yeah.
um, to end it, what would you like to just say to your community there at the academy?
Oh man.
A
Thank
lot.
you. Thank you. Thank you for trusting in my vision, for letting me like create this place and have them come in here and be part of something that I've wanted. Oh man, it's gonna go live. Yeah, man, just immense gratitude that they let me do my favorite thing in the world and share it
Yeah.
with them every day, and get to see them grow, see them get better. That the faith and the trust they have in what we're doing here and their commitment to this, it's awesome, man. It's inspires me every day, and it's the best thing I could be doing.
I'm sure that you know the fact that they keep coming back is their you know, them showing their gratitude and the value that you give them, right? Um, Man, thank you so much for your story, dude. It's a
Yeah,
really cool story. Yeah, from Maine to Arizona. Thank you so much. Yeah, what you do, it sounds like you have a really well-rounded academy, man. That's
we,
something I haven't talked about with somebody else yet. You know, I'm sure they exist everywhere. But yeah, I understand what you mean. You know, you got because that's what I get from a lot of people, you know, all the different aspects of the people who go, right? And for
yeah,
different reasons. And all of it's is great, you know, but that's I bet you have to strive to have everything, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
To
It's definitely
create the culture there that, you know, every type is getting what they want.
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. There needs to be an intentionality behind that. Like if that's what you want for your people, you need to be making sure that those their individual needs are addressed. It's very easy for somebody to feel sidelined. I think, you know, we're prepping for a competition and we're running hard comp classes, and those people are feeling like, well, I'm being overseen. And I know what happens. I know there's some schools that they lose sight.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You have to be intentional about that because that's just human nature, and it's okay. It's just human nature to go that route, to be, you know, to go one route or the other, and yeah, you have to be intentional. Thank you so much, man. It's so nice to meet you. I had fun talking to you, and I hope you have a beautiful day there. There.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, bro. I'll talk to you soon. All right.
Okay, all right.
All right. See you, Nate.